Today, we're plunging into the scariest places our planet's oceans have to offer. Forget your beachside cocktails. We're going deep, where the sun doesn't shine, and the things that do, well, they have opinions. Let's start with the most obvious kind of scary, the sheer, mind-boggling depth. Imagine a pressure so intense, it could turn your bones into, well, let's not dwell on that. We're going to travel down through the layers, from the familiar to the absolutely horrifying. First, let's go a few hundred meters down, past where any sunlight can reach. This is the Twilight Zone. Life here is already getting weird. Creatures have huge eyes to catch the last glimmers of light, and they've learned a new language, the language of bioluminescence. It's like an underwater rave, but everyone's trying to attract a mate or lure you into their mouths. But we're not here for the pretty light shows, we're going deeper. At around 1,000 meters, we hit the midnight zone. It's not just dark here, it's total darkness. The kind of darkness that swallows everything. The pressure is insane. But the most terrifying part is what's lurking in it. Things live down here that look like they were designed by a committee of nightmares. Anglerfish with fanged mouths and a fishing rod on their face. Or maybe a goblin shark, a living fossil that looks like something out of a horror movie. It's a never-ending Halloween party, and you're the uninvited guest. But if the abyss is creepy, the Hadal Zone is where the real existential dread kicks in. This is found in the deepest ocean trenches, like the Mariana Trench. We're talking pressures over 1,000 times what we experience at the surface. It's so extreme. Scientists once thought nothing could live down there. Surprise. Life, finds a way, mostly by being really, really weird. These creatures are the ultimate survivalists. They exist in a world so hostile, it makes the surface of Mars look like a spa day. Fun fact, the Mariana Trench is so deep, you could drop Mount Everest in it, and its peak would still be about 2 kilometers below the surface. The pressure down there is equivalent to having 50 jumbo jets stacked on top of you. Just let that sink in. Now let's move from the scientifically terrifying to the, well, let's just say, historically anxiety-inducing. For centuries, sailors have spun tales of monstrous creatures lurking in the deep, krakens, sea serpents. Were they all just tall tales fueled by rum and weeks at sea? Maybe, though after a week at sea, anything could look like a giant squid. But the ocean is vast, and we still haven't explored every nook and cranny. While we might not run into a literal kraken, there are definitely real-world phenomena that could inspire such legends. For example, rogue waves. Imagine a wave the size of a multi-story building appearing out of nowhere in an otherwise calm sea. These things are real, they're unpredictable, and they've been known to swallow ships whole. That's a real-life sea monster, if you ask me. And let's not forget the invisible dangers. Powerful currents and whirlpools. The ocean is constantly moving, and in some places, these movements can become incredibly violent. Think of the Strait of Messina's whirlpools in ancient mythology, or the real-life tidal races that can drag even large vessels down into the depths. It's like the ocean has its own watery gravity determined to pull you into its abyss. It's no wonder ancient sailors believed there were sea dragons lurking beneath the surface, waiting to drag them down. This brings us to a place that feels straight out of a myth, the Devil's Sea near Japan. For years, countless ships have disappeared in this region with no explanation. Japanese sailors believed it was the lair of a dragon, but modern science has more terrifying answers. Underwater volcanoes and sudden methane releases from the seabed can cause ships to sink without a trace, with little to no warning. So, if you're planning a sailing trip near Japan, maybe pack extra snacks and a really good life vest, just in case. Okay, so crushing pressure and bizarre life are one kind of scary. How about adding some geological instability to the mix? Let's talk about hydrothermal vents, also charmingly known as black smokers. These underwater geysers spew out superheated, toxic fluids packed with minerals. It's like the Earth is constantly brewing a giant, poisonous soup. You'd think nothing could live near these things, but again, life finds a way. Tube worms the size of baseball bats, eyeless shrimp, they thrive in this extreme environment, completely cut off from sunlight and our familiar food chain. But for anything that isn't specifically adapted, it's instant, well, not a pleasant vacation. And speaking of things that shouldn't be there, have you heard of dead zones? These aren't specific locations as much as they are vast areas with little to no oxygen. Usually caused by human pollution, these underwater deserts can't support most marine life. Imagine swimming through an underwater graveyard, silent, still, and eerily empty. It's a stark reminder that sometimes the scariest things in the ocean are the ones we create. But the ocean can create its own dead zones too. Take the Great Blue Hole off the coast of Belize. Below 88 meters, it becomes a toxic wasteland. The water is saturated with poisonous hydrogen sulfide, and there's not a single ounce of oxygen. It's a death zone where marine life simply can't survive. It's so effective at preserving things that an expedition in 2019 found the perfectly preserved bodies of 2 missing divers at the bottom. Not to be confused with its cousin, the Red Sea's Blue Hole, which is known as the Divers' Cemetery for its treacherous tunnels that have claimed over 130 lives. So, yeah, maybe stick to the beach. So far we've talked about natural terrors, but let's not forget the human element. The ocean floor is littered with shipwrecks, silent tombs holding countless stories, and sometimes the remains of those who perished. Exploring these sites can be incredibly eerie, a tangible reminder of the ocean's power and our vulnerability. It's like visiting an underwater museum, except all the exhibits might be haunted. Then there's the human factor in the Red Triangle off the coast of California, the shark bite capital of the world in Florida, and the croc-infested waters of Australia's Queensland. These are places where humans and predators have a frighteningly high chance of meeting. For every tale of a mythical beast, there are dozens of real-life encounters that prove some of the most terrifying creatures in the ocean are not imaginary at all. They're just really hungry. And finally, perhaps the scariest place of all, the vast, unexplored majority of the ocean. We've only explored a tiny fraction of what lies beneath the surface. What strange creatures are still undiscovered? What bizarre geological formations are hidden in the darkness? The sheer unknown is enough to send shivers down your spine. The ocean is a constant reminder that there are forces on this planet far greater and more mysterious than ourselves. It's like nature's way of saying,
"Yeah, you think you're in charge? Think again, land dweller."
So there you have it, a whirlwind tour of some of the scariest places our oceans have to offer. It's enough to make you think twice before dipping your toes in the water, isn't it? But hey, at least you're not down there with a blobfish having an existential crisis under the weight of 50 jumbo jets, though I'm sure they have their own set of problems, like finding a decent therapist that deep. Now, which of these scary spots freaks you out the most? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this descent into the deep and want to explore more of Earth's weird and wonderful and occasionally terrifying secrets, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Stay curious and maybe keep a nightlight handy. Mr. Wanderer, signing off.